Imagine if Stephen Curry had a YouTube channel giving gambling picks out every, major event. We got the Commissioner's Cup going on right now. Just imagine, like, playoff games that he's not a part of. He's giving out who he thinks is going to go over or under on points, rebounds, assists, things of that nature, all while still being an active NBA player. That would be crazy, right? Well, guess what? The UFC is actually allowing that. Here's what I mean. All right, so Dana the Great White Shark, he went on Flagrant with the hooting and hollering Andrew Schultz and Akash thing and their little buddies, and he went on a pretty viral rant at this point. And, he's out here virtue signaling, talking about integrity and protecting the sport. And I agree, match fixing is a terrible thing, and it's not quite the same as handicapping. It's just, I feel like these guys are supposed to leave the handicapping for us normal folks that are not in the profession. That is still kind of crazy. Now, if you're retired, that's a totally different story. If Michael Jordan decided to fire up the YouTube today and start giving out, prize picks lineups, I don't think anybody would. Well, the commissioner would probably be a little upset about that, but there's nothing that's really wrong with that. But being active is where I think it's a little sketchy. And, Dana goes on these media runs and he like I said, virtue signals with the whole holier than thou persona. But in reality, does Dana really care about gambling? I don't think any other major sports, organization would allow this. If we seen the MLB do this, the NBA, the NFL, the NHL even, it would be the biggest story all over ESPN. People would be, being full-blown Karens about it. So I guess that's my job today. I'm going to be the Karen, and I'm pointing at Dana White and Volk and looking at you kind of side-eyed. Well, let's get into this clip.
So there's I saw you talking about that the Bulgarian guy and the gambling.
Yeah.
And you've seen it happen with the NBA. We had like Shams on here and stuff like that. Do you know who he is? He's the guy who like drops all the
breaks
what's
all
happening,
the NBA
breaks
info.
all the information. Like this guy's getting traded, yada yada yada. An interesting thing happens with the Shams kind of interview, and also this John Tate Porter guy. I don't know if you heard of him, but he was playing for the Raptors and he did like some stuff. So there's these things that exist now, these prop bets.
Yep.
Right, especially in sports, like under 4 rebounds or something. If you're like a bench player, it's very easy to get 3 rebounds, pull yourself out of the game, be like, oh, my back hurts, I don't want to sit. What is interesting about like the idea of like the fixing of these sporting events coming out is that I don't think that people gambling knew that the gambling companies were aware of big money being put. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm.
So, like, for example, when they see big money being put on an obscure bet, that's flagged in a system. So a lot of people are talking about like gambling in sports as, oh my God, this is a big deal. And there are going to be fights that are fixed or whatever it is, which I want to get your take.
I'm not going to lie. You have to be an idiot to fix something and do it through a prize picks or underdog or anything of that nature. Any phone app based gambling platform to be doing dirt on that, you're stupid. If you're not doing it through your cousin's friend, what are you doing? You literally have to submit your ID and all types of shit. They have all your information. Why would you rig something on there? They report everything, all transactions, all deposits and withdrawals, especially withdrawals, are reported. And you think they're gonna take kindly to getting hit over the head like a bunch of fools?
Yeah.
But is there a version where like this is the reason why you want to make gambling legal, not illegal? Because now you can flag this type of activity.
100%. The more data that you can collect, you have these bet monitoring systems out there, and they see irregular stuff happening. There's the goofy clickbait that's all over the internet. We're hearing that hundreds of fights are being. No, they're not.
Right.
There were 2. Okay,
Right.
2 that were being checked out.
What was the other one? It was Bulgarian,
This was one
and
of
then
them. This was one of them, and I can't remember the other one, but it was connected to a whole team of guys. Yeah, and James Krause was the coach of all these guys.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's being looked at in this whole thing.
Right.
Cover your ass 101. He immediately gets to spinning his narrative to make sure he gets all his little PR talking points off for the one obvious stain that's on the organization at the moment.
Could you break that down? Because I don't get what actually.
Yeah. So what happened was the day of the fight, which was a couple weeks ago, the bet monitoring system hit us up at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they said there's some irregular shit going on with this fight. You know, there's big bets on this kid to lose in the first round.
This is not a big name in the sport,
Right?
Like
it was a fight night at the Apex.
Oh, wow.
And it was, you know, it wasn't a high level fight.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's very similar to pre-NIL college football and college basketball. It was very easy for people to influence and bribe players to throw games in, you know, smaller schools. If you go to freaking Western Kentucky University or Toledo or something, I don't even know who they'd be playing. Maybe Toledo versus Miami of Ohio, right? In basketball, let's say. It's very easy to get the starting point guard to throw the game, or you could take that same matchup and apply it to football. Very easy to get the starting quarterback to throw the game. All you got to do is offer them, you know, $10,000 or whatever the case may be. And that's more than they're going to make all season playing at those schools. It's not like they're going to Ohio State where, what was it, Terrell Pryor, where he's able to trade in some jerseys and get some tattoos. That's honestly chump change as well. Like, a couple $1,000 worth of tattoos, not even more than $10,000 in tattoos probably. Damn near got this guy, you know, banned from the sport. But that's supposed to not be as much of an issue now with NIL. And I watched a lot of content of this Owen Hansen guy, the guy who was like a USC walk-on tight end that ended up becoming a very prolific international bookmaker and / gambler and evolved into a drug trafficker. And he kind of says from his personal account that he wouldn't have fell into a life of crime, supposedly, if he was getting NIL. That's what he claims. He claims that he wouldn't have had to try to keep up with all the rich people at USC. Yeah, you got to have the newest Benz and all the best drip and all that just to get a date. I don't know if I believe it, but that you know, that's what he said in a few different interviews. But anyways.
but the odds were huge. The guy that they were betting on to lose in the first round was like a 4-1 favorite or 3-1 favorite or something like that to win the fight.
Got it.
So
only somebody that might know a little something would put that kind of bread on a bet like that.
So they called us and told us, and our lawyer called the fighter and his lawyer. They're already at the Apex and warming up and said, "There's some regular betting going on you right now to lose in the first round. Are you hurt? Because the guy could be hurt, and guys in his team know it, but nobody else knows it. Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody asked you to throw the fight?
You asked him this before the fight?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Before the fight.
Holy
Him
shit.
and his lawyer. Right?
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So then they said, fuck no. What? This is weird. No, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. Blah, 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 blah. So we said, okay. So we let the fight go. And then we're sitting there and the fucking fight goes to the ground.
So long story short, on this part of the holier than thou rant, the guy that he's talking about ends up losing via rear naked choke in the first round after being questioned before the fight. Hey, are you doing anything shady? We kind of got tipped off that you might be trying to throw the fight. And then Dana basically said that the guy promised him that he's going to go out there and try his best to, unalive his opponent. Actually, he's gonna be a raging bull. And he ended up going out there and somehow gave up his back and, got choked out in the first round, just like the massive bets would want him to do. And, he says the famous moment that I immediately went to the back and called the FBI. Here, actually, it sounds better out of Dana's mouth instead of mine. Pause.
The kid gets his back and I'm like, he's got him in a fucking rear naked choke. So I call my chief operating officer. I said, he's got his back. Oh, he got out of it. Oh, no, he's back in it. Oh, that fucking fight's over. Finished. And my chief operating officer goes, motherfucker. I literally went in the back and called the FBI.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. Okay.
Went right in the back and called the FBI.
Okay.
The FBI fucking showed up on Monday. We walked them through everything, and now there's a full-blown investigation. I will be the one that will bury you. I will fucking bury you if you
you need
this.
to.
Yeah.
Because it protects the brand. You need to protect the sport.
To come into any league and start fixing or throwing, fucking fights or games or any of that shit. Yeah.
I think the people that are trying to fix these things and the fighter trying to throw it, they're too stupid to realize that it's going to get flagged. The more people that realize this stuff gets flagged won't bet on legitimate betting platforms because they'll be worried they'll get caught.
So when we sat down and talked to the FBI already fucking knows where they bet and what they do. It's just, you know how fucking stupid you have to be to do this and to be a fighter.
So how do you punish them, though?
And to throw a fight?
Is that like lifetime ban from any
There's a fucking
body?
meme of me out there saying federal fucking prison.
I mean, that all sounds great. It sounds very, admirable. Clap it up for Dana White, everybody, Commissioner of the Year. And honestly, in a lot of ways, Dana is very good at his job. Very, very good. You could argue he's one of the best leaders in sports. Out of all the higher-ups between Adam Silver and all these guys, Roger Goodell, you could argue Dana's the best. But that's just a matter of opinions. At the end of the day, this is hypocritical as fuck, okay? Because the UFC is allowing active fighters to be handicappers on YouTube. We literally have Alexander Volkanovski running a full-on fight picking and betting advice show on YouTube. Multiple active fighters openly giving picks, breakdowns, and odds talks. They literally bring up the odds on the screen. We're going to get into the clips in a second. But I just have to reiterate this point. If the NBA, who obviously is like the forefront of this whole scandal in the first place, NFL, MLB, NHL, that's the big four, right? It would be a huge scandal if any of the faces of these organizations was just out in the open telling you who to bet on in their profession. Even if it was other sports. Even if you took Shohei Ohtani, great example, right? Got some smoke over there. He kind of wiggled his way out of it, but there's some smoke over there. If Shohei is out here just actively posting that he's betting on LeBron James, wouldn't we be looking at it like, don't you think you should change that rule, MLB? Like, if it's allowed for the guys to bet on sports that are not their own, with everything going on, don't we think, we should probably change that? But now see, underpaying the players is what even opens the door up for this type of thing. Because we can look at, like I said, Shohei, we can look at him and like, oh, you're just greedy. Because, baseball, that's always been the joke in athletic circles, especially football players and stuff. I wish I played baseball. Every time you see a baseball player that's just, like third, fourth best on their team get a crazy amount of money, people are like, damn, I picked the wrong sport. That whole joke. Football players are pretty well taken care of financially as well. Basketball, for sure, the contracts sound crazy every time they get talked about on ESPN in the offseason. But the UFC, there's not really any of that. There's no half a billion dollar man out there. There's no $500 million man. There's no $1 billion in career earnings. And granted, yes, it's a newer organization compared to the main four organizations that kind of make up American professional sports. But at the end of the day, maybe pay the fighters enough to where they don't feel like they need to do 1,000 other things on the side, including risk their ability to be, professionals with integrity. You got them taking pretty much penitentiary chances because you're underpaying everybody. I mean, maybe pay the fighters more. Pay the fighters more, Dana, has been the unofficial slogan of the UFC for like 10 years now. And it's that tight-fisted frugalness that has their version of Steph Curry in the octagon out here. He's got a handicap to support his lifestyle. It's got to be that, right? I mean, heck, the guy, he's undersized, but he's goated, right? He's a goated level talent. He's still an active superstar, but they're getting up there in age and career age and stuff like that. And then, like I said before, imagine if Steph was betting on the NBA and giving his picks out publicly. Every sports journalist in America would have a meltdown about this. They would all be covering it. Stephen A would be just good old-fashioned screaming A, shouting at the top of his lungs about how this is the worst thing to ever happen to basketball. But nobody bats an eye when this has been going on for years. Volk has been doing this on his YouTube channel for at least 3 years. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Volk. It's more so Dana going on Flagrant, talking all high and mighty, being proud about, I'll call the FBI on y'all, but you have one of the faces of your league, one of the best fighters of all time to ever walk into the octagon. This is what he has to do because he's not getting enough money from, being a GOAT. And I think that's wrong. I think he should be paid fairly for his contributions to the sport and how he's helped advance mixed martial arts.
UFC 300, cracking card. So I'm going to give you tips, what they're paying, my breakdown, my picks. I'm going to do it all. So there's a massive card, huge card with a lot of great fights. Usually I only do main cards and maybe throw a couple of the prelims in there. I'm doing from early prelims, first fight, because every fight on this card is an absolute banger.
Now again, Volk has won me some money. If I remember correctly, this video that I'm clipping up right here is actually the first time I ever watched one of his YouTube videos, and I made the closest thing I could in prize picks to this, and I won some money. So shout out to Volk. But I don't think that he should have to resort to this in order to not survive. Like, he's doing well, but these guys should be doing a lot better. If you're the Stephen Curry equivalent, you should be set for life. Your grandkids, before they even exist, should be set for life.
This is going to be a tricky one. I think, look, man, Figueiredo's just been, he's seasoned. And what's he paying?
$1.28. He's heavy favourite.
Uh,
He's paying $3.60.
Cody's paying $3.60. Look, that's fair. Remember, it is a three rounder. Look, I think a safer bet would be leaning towards Davison. Obviously, he's a veteran, like seasoned. So is Cody. But how many championship fights at higher caliber? Very high. Like, his latest fights are all high caliber competitors. So it's going to be hard to look past Figueiredo. So look, man, he's going to bring him to you. And I'm just going to tell you how it is. You can see me trying to figure it all out as we go, because I want to give you a good breakdown of my best pick. Look, the best pick for that one is going to have to be Figueiredo. I think that's it's going to be hard, even though No Love's paying so well. Is he a chance if you want to go an underdog? Could he catch him? Yeah, you could see that happening. I don't think I can see him submitting Figueiredo. Could Figueiredo finish No Love? Yeah, I think he can. Like, I think if it's going to be a scrap that I'm expecting it to be, they're both in for a chance, but I'm going to have to lean towards Figueiredo just from the caliber of opposition he's fought lately and championship fights. Him moving up, I think, is going to be good for him. So I'm going to have to lean towards, look, I like both guys, but I'm going to have to lean towards Figueiredo. Now, next fight, who we got?
Got Andrade and Mariano Rodriguez.
Okay, so favourite?
Favourite is Rodriguez. It's close.
Okay.
$1.85 to $1.90.
$1.85. Yeah, man, it's Andrade, man. She can be hit and miss, man. Sometimes I'm thinking, she's gonna get it done, because last fight she lost. Maybe this isn't a good matchup, and then she'll go out and just wipe the floor with them. And then there's gonna, it's gonna be vice versa. It's gonna happen the other way. So who am I leaning towards here? Is the pocket rocket Jessica Andrade is she gonna do it? So who was the favourite? Rodriguez, you said, huh?
Yeah,
Just favourite. You know what? It's a big event. Jessica Andrade is going to turn up. So, even though she's not a massive underdog, I'm going to go lean towards underdog in this one. Look, I've seen enough. I've seen her do some big things. She's been in big fights. She might get that done. So I'm going to lean towards Jessica Andrade. Look, that's a tricky one for me. But I do want to get some underdog picks, and I'm going to lean towards Jessica Andrade on that.
Now, to be fair, in those two examples that I just showed you right there, and that's from the same episode, he has plenty more of those breakdowns on his channel, but Volk kept it pretty clean. He didn't get into, the nitty gritty of what's really making these decisions for him, but, he does have really good fight IQ, Is he wrong for monetizing that when, you know, the whole world is allowed to gamble on the UFC? Yes and no. You know, it's allowed, which is what shocked me. Now, how I even stumbled upon this element of Volkanovski's channel is I was looking for, you know, some YouTubers to have breakdowns for a UFC fight because I was chasing, you know, I'm gonna be honest, I lost my little $20 on Prize Picks for the weekend, and I was chasing my bets. I was chasing my losses, I should say. And I was down, you know, maybe the last $5 or whatever it was. And I said, okay, to heck with it. I'm going to throw it on the UFC. I'm not having any luck with football right now. I'm going to throw it on the UFC Saturday and see what happens. I was lucky enough to catch that upload back when the event was fresh and new, and he had just dropped the video maybe, you know, 40 minutes before I found it. And I was like, dang, this is crazy. The first thought that came to my mind, this is like if I could watch LeBron James tell me, you know, who I should bet on in Prize Picks in the NBA Finals matchup. Why would I not watch that video as a consumer? But as far as I'm calling the FBI, it's looking very hypocritical. What the hell? Very hypocritical. Excuse me. It's late. But also, this is wild because it is a conflict of interest. This is the definition of a conflict of interest. Fighters know the game plans. They have insider information on, you know, injuries, camp performances. You could probably find out very easily, especially if you're not on the card, how that person's performing in camp and all the little secret insider info that the general public will not have, right? Volk is literally training with some of the other fighters that he's broken down in the past. So you know their strengths and weaknesses to a more intimate level than just watching them compete and breaking down game film, essentially. And, you know, even without bad intentions, this is just, you know, it's a bad look. It's just a really bad look. Regardless of if you mean well, you just want to help out the fight fans, that's all fine and dandy. Like I said, I've benefited from Volk's help. I don't have a problem with Volk. It's just that Dana pretends that the UFC is damn near squeaky clean. Oh no, we only had 2 incidents ever. We ain't on that shit. How do we know? How do we know it's not as bad compared to baseball, basketball, or the main two right now? And, you know, based off of me just betting and observing football be pissing me off the most out of all of them with Prize Picks. Football, I done given up on betting on multiple times, and I should probably stop going back. It's like that ex that keeps on, you know, hurting your feelings. But for some reason, I keep on going back thinking, no, this is a guarantee. There's no way Aaron Rodgers isn't going to throw for 175 yards a day. And sure enough, what does he go out there and do? Throw for 115 or, you know, whatever the case may be. But anyways, let's get into my final talking point, which is the UFC also has partnerships with plenty of gambling companies. You know, there's several sports books internationally that they're partnered with marketing and stuff. Stake, DraftKings, that's just to name a few. They promote gambling all throughout the broadcast. All these organizations literally push parlays out to the audience before the events start. You got the commentators literally push it out. So it's just completely enrooted into the sports at this point. And there's no way we as the general public, as the normal, you know, the common folk, can feel like we're not getting screwed over at this point by continuing to bet on sports. You know, but I guess it is what it is. It's a problem when the fighters decide to get in on the pie, but the UFC has no problem taking DraftKings money, taking stakes money, taking all these places money that the fighters are supposedly not allowed to utilize. But then you got, you know, active goats fully utilizing it. I guess it's just as long as he doesn't make a fight prediction video when he's on the card. Is it like, how did this agreement come about? Is what the Volk having his channel being this a part of his channel is crazy to me. I just can't lie. And you know, at the end of the day, Volk, he's an all-time great, but we got to call it like it is. This would never be allowed in any other league. Only the UFC, I guess. And only for certain people. Because if you were someone who's on Dana's bad side, we've seen how he treats people on his bad side. he talked a lot of shit about Francis Ngannou. I hope I said his name right. If Francis was out here handicapping on YouTube, I bet you he would receive a lifetime ban from the UFC. But anyways, thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. And if you want more content like this, let me know in the comments. If you disagree with everything I said, let me know in the comments as well. Hate comments are welcome around here. I'm not soft. I might argue back with you. I might not. Just depends on what type of day I'm having. But anyways, I appreciate you regardless. Peace.